Welcome to Monday, and that means it's countdown day here on the channel, and today's list is kind of related to last week's list. Last week's list was the top 10 KOs in all of Transformers, and these are those offerings that don't have original engineering, like they took a mold from another company, and then they copied that mold. Maybe they upsized it, maybe they downsized it, maybe they changed out a ball peg for a mushroom peg, or put an arm flap on, something very minor, but at the end of the day, it's basically a copy of something else that was an original design. Well, this time around, as voted on by fans all across social media, we have the top 10 third-party Transformers, whether official or unofficial, licensed or unlicensed. What defines third-party in this case? Original designs. They may be given different names in new fiction, even if they homage a character that we know from Transformers, but they are wholly and completely new designs with new engineering and new molds. It's a whole new world. Third party, official, unofficial. That's going to be our topic this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey, one hail, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links. All of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you are in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is the top 10 third-party Transformers. I did not differentiate between official or unofficial, licensed or unlicensed. The whole third-party realm is kind of defined by unique engineering and designs, whether they transform or don't transform, whether all of these other technicalities are there. These are characters that are given whole new molds and designs, and some are in the Masterpiece line, some are in the main line, a lot are in the Legends line. I expected this list to pretty much be a clean sweep based on fan votes, remember, a clean sweep for Fans Toys, because Fans Toys have so many fans who are so vocal and vehement about that product. I'm happy to say that what we actually got is a very big, different hodgepodge list that came up from really everywhere. Hundreds of votes cast and counted. We are going to do our honorable mentions first, and in our honorable mentions, we have Magic Square's Light of Freedom, which is a version of Optimus Prime. We have Power Baser, who is a great one, and of course you can look all of these ones up. We had the Fans Project Glacial Lord, or Glacial Lord. Very interesting take, and I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't remember that character or really know where it comes from. He gotta be from the comics or something. It's a bit of an out there one, but an oldie but a goodie from Fans Project. And one of my absolute favorites, Mania King, Unique Toys Mania King, still to this day a pretty tremendous Galvatron. And the Mech Ideas Top Spin and Twin Twist. In fact, some people prefer, even though they're a little bit smaller than Deluxe, some people prefer the Mech Ideas Top Spin and Twin Twist to the Titans Return Top Spin and Twin Twist. Or, I guess, the upcoming Wreck and Rule version of Twin Twist that has the Diaclone colors, right? So some people still go back to the Mech Ideas one, which are kind of expensive and certainly a lot on the aftermarket now. But you know what? They are pretty great. Great articulation, great transformation, great robots. All of that's the honorable mentions. None of them made the list. So who did make the list? Well, you know what we're going to do, man. As we always do, we're going to kick things off with number 10 first. Number 10 starts us off with the Movieverse and Unique Toys and one of my favorite companies doing one of my favorite bad guy characters, and it's this. Oh yeah, Peru Kill, which of course is their version, if you will, of the Age of Extinction Lockdown, a masterpiece NPM version of that lockdown that has been touted and heralded as amazing. A tremendous, true to screen robot mode, an amazing car mode with a very intricate transformation, but apparently very, very rewarding. I've only seen it in video. I've never experienced it. MP is not my game, not my thing. But I can't argue that everything about Peru Kill has impressed me every time I've seen it. And I know that I enjoy Unique Toys as a company. When you take a company I like, a character I like, and when I see that the engineering is stupendous, when I see the articulation is wild, when I see the robot is accurate, the car is accurate, how can this guy not make the list? Enough fans felt the same way that Peru Kill took the number 10 slot. Coming in at number 9, we go to the Dinobots and this guy. It is Planet X's Vulcan, which is really their take on the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron Grimlock. This mold has been used a couple of times. It was kind of retooled to be like an IDW, I think, Grimlock version. That one seems to have some QC issues, but the original Vulcan apparently doesn't. And they kind of done all of the Dinobots from the video game, and everybody has said, yeah, even if you like the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, don't get the Voyager. Do yourself a favor. Spring the extra money, the extra pop, go with Planet X and get Vulcan because he's just that good. The only criticism that I've heard for him is that there is a real tolerance issue for kind of getting his tail like past some bits and pieces to get it in the correct positions that it needs to be in. But once you do that, if you can do that, if you're careful and do that, he otherwise is known to be an extremely tremendous figure with an impeccable look, tons of paint, and amazing articulation. I get it. I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I like my Voyager Fall of Cybertron Grimlock just fine. But to say that he's anything close to what Vulcan is would be an absolute lie. Enough fans love Planet X's Dinobots and specifically Vulcan that he was able to take the number 9 slot. Number 8 is another one of my favorites, made by Transart, which is sometimes known for doing KOs, but not this guy. That's right, it is Transart's Black Agent, their version of Beast Wars Ravage, and I love mine. There's die cast in there. We have his blasters going on his thighs with magnets. Granted, I wish we didn't have to change out his hands. I like the heft and the size. The transformation to cat mode, granted, leaves something to be desired, but I'm more interested in this guy functioning as a tremendous robot. It's a bonus that he comes with a itty bitty tiny little cassette version of himself that can actually store on him in his back. When the choice was this guy or the Decepticons Forever set, it was a clear win for me. It was this guy because the Decepticons Forever cassette or the Decepticons Forever pack reused the Cheetor Kingdom Cheetor mold, and I detest that mold. Didn't want a Beast Wars Ravage done with that, so I opted to go with this iteration. And it works just fine for me. He was, is, and probably always will be a glorious Beast Wars Ravage, and enough fans feel the same way that he took the number 8 slot. Number 7 was described, by those who voted for it, as the bar none perfect masterpiece scaled version of this character, and it's this guy. This is where the Fans Toys love starts to come in. This, of course, is Fans Toys Sovereign. And, I mean, it's hard to argue with it. The robot mode looks pretty spot on. The alt mode looks pretty spot on. I think the engineering is atrocious, but I always think the engineering is atrocious. And when I hear that squeaky squeak, I don't feel good. The only thing with this entire offering that has always seemed a little bit off to me is I feel like the hands are small on them. Like, I feel like the hands should have been a little bit bigger. Not a lot, but a little bit bigger. To be fair, though, I have levied that criticism against a lot of third-party versions of Galvatron, so it's not really unique to them. The hands on that guy seem to be the biggest issue. But when it comes to presence, stature, when it comes to look, when it comes to dynamic articulation, it's hard to argue with Fans Toys Sovereign, and I am not a Fans Toys fan. And even I have to admit that he looks just that good. For that reason, and because enough fans felt the same way, he was able to take the number 7 slot. Sliding in at number 6 is an oldie but a goodie that fans even to this day seem to adore, and it's this guy. That's right, Mastermind Creations Feral Rex. Now, I looked at the Jinbao KO of Nero Rex, and I'm sure that that had certain simplifications, and I know he wasn't as stable as the official, and he was upsized and whatnot. I found he had certain articulation limitations. I don't know if the actual Feral Rex has more articulation than the KO or not. I have to be realistic about that. I'm going to assume it does. Here's what I do know. I do know that he has a status, like in the fandom, as being like the king of Predakings. I know that he certainly has stature on a shelf and presence. I know the sculpting looks beautiful on him, even to this day. And I know that MMC is noted for making nice products. I like the company. I have every reason to think that the official is even leaps and bounds better than the upsized KO. I thought that was pretty good. Just needed to be kind of a little more stable. I have to believe that the official is just that much better. Now, fans certainly feel that he is still the king of Predakings, that he was able to take the number 6 slot. And here we are, once again at the most coveted of locations, the halfway mark. And at the halfway mark, we have another offering from Mastermind Creations. And I gotta be honest, this was a character that I had no idea who he was, knew nothing about him, and have since come to really respect and enjoy the character. Though I've never experienced this mold, I do think it's probably the definitive version of this character. What am I talking about? I'm talking about this guy. That's right, it's MMC's Spartan, their take on Impactor. And I've grown to love this guy because I have the Siege Impactor, and I adore it. I was feeling very frustrated with the entire fandom, the whole thing in 2019, and he kind of rekindled my love and my passion quite a lot, which is no small feat, especially for a character I didn't know anything about. I'm not a comics fan. I don't care about the comics. I love comics. I love Transformers. I don't think that they work well together. Never did. You know, I love chocolate. I love cheese. Don't think that's a good combination. I love, like, you know, like Oreo cookies and bacon, but I don't think that's a good combination. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain things that just don't go together for me. And comics and Transformers are one of those. But I can't deny that there's a charming thing, maybe it's the color, maybe it's the purple and the gold. There's a charming thing about Impactor that has really grown on me in the years since first discovering him. I can now look back and say I enjoy MMC. I think that this was a bit too big for my collection, but boy, oh boy, when I think of Impactor, I'm not going to lie, even though I own the Siege version, the first image that comes to mind is the MMC Spartan. If I think of Impactor and I think of Spartan, and I think of them that intimately interconnected and intertwined, man, how can you argue with it? Enough fans think that Spartan is a definitive version of Impactor for them, that he was able to take the number 5 slot. Number 4 is a tie, and it's really the same character in 2 different color schemes. It's these guys. That's right, it's Optus Pexis, I think it is, and Optus Nox. I don't know if I'm saying that exactly right. I hope I'm saying that right. Look, I've heard nothing but good things about these. The articulation is stupendous. The mold is stupendous. They look great. They transform great. Everything about them is great. Who am I to argue? Who am I to argue? And they come from a good company to boot. Both lads, whichever color scheme you prefer, took the number 4 slot. Coming in at number 3 was an unexpected entry, but it's this guy. That's right, it is X-Transbot's Motormaster. It's so funny. I remember when X-Transbots was kind of just coming on the scene and early, and a lot of people said they have potential, but their engineering is rough, and you know, they had all these issues. And now, when we do a countdown of the top 10 third-party Transformers, based on the fan votes, number 3 is X-Transbot's Motormaster. How far that company has come. And I'll admit it, when you look at him, he looks stupendous. He looks like Motormaster in all modes. I've heard that the transformation isn't as bad as it looks on video. Like, I've seen it on video and I'm like, oh, there's a lot there. But I've heard that it tends to make sense and it tends to work more nicely in hand. I can't speak to it. I don't know. And I've also heard that a lot of people like the fact that pretty much he is a whole self-contained thing. That I very much do respect. There's a lot to like about him. Really a lot to like about him. And honestly, I would venture to say that any kind of future versions of Motormaster, any other versions of Motormaster, especially aiming for like a masterpiece type of positioning, really kind of got to kind of look at this guy from X-Transbots as the measuring stick. He is the bar. Just like, you know, Feral Rex is considered the king of Predakings, this version of Motormaster for MP collectors so far seems to be the measuring stick for Motormasters. Take that for what you will. Enough fans felt the same way that this guy was able to solidify himself at the number 3 slot. Coming in at number 2, we have a version of a character that is one of the only versions of this character. Certainly one of the only versions that actually transforms of this character, and it is a character that has an absolute cult following. Even somebody like me who's not a fan of the comic books is pretty intrigued by this character, and it's by Mastermind Creations, and it's this guy. That's right, it is their Kultor, or Tarn, if you will. I don't know if I said Kultor the right way, or Tarn, if you will. Nobody voted for the female Tarn version or the female Kultor, though she looks really cool too. If you are a fan of the DJD, you're going to want him. He's the leader. Even if you're not, a lot of people got this guy, even if they didn't get the rest of the DJD. He's not exactly the right size for me, and the only other version I think is the Iron Factory, which is too small. So like this guy's too big for me, that one's too small for me. I would like one that's kind of just in the middle, like a Goldilocks version. But I can't deny that everything to do with this Kultor, everything to do with this version of Tarn, I mean, he's spectacular top to bottom, from the color, to the paint, to the transformation, to the engineering, to the articulation, to his face mask. Excellent, excellent offering, and fans felt the same way. He took the number 2 slot. And here we are at number 1, and I'm not going to lie, I absolutely, under no circumstances, expected this character to take number 1. It is a little bit of a cheat because it's actually more than one character, but you'll see what I mean when we get there. And I'm surprised it took it because there have been people who have complained about issues of stability with this guy. Who am I talking about? I'm talking about, as voted on by fans for number 1, this. That's right, TFC Toys Hades, their take on essentially Lyle Kaiser. And like, he sure looks the part, really does. All of them look the part. And he definitely has a status and a stature and a presence. And I don't know if he's meant to be MP scaled or not, but I mean, again, when you think of Lyle Kaiser, you either think of the original or you think of this guy. Nobody thinks of the Platinum Edition Combiner Wars one, even though that's mine, and I've done a ton of custom work on him. But people still, to this day, think of Hades. And people that collect mainline got Hades as their Lyle Kaiser. People who collected MP, a lot of them have Hades as their Lyle Kaiser. He's not a combiner that's really been tackled a whole lot, and when he has been, a lot of people have said, well, there's certain issues here, certain issues there. On the whole, this guy's kind of universally liked, even though everybody kind of recognizes that he is not issue-free. Although, to be fair, some people have said he's not very stable, and other people have said he's super stable. Maybe it's, I don't know, differences in quality, in variances? I have no idea. But enough fans adore Hades that he took the number 1 slot. We have gone from 10 down to 1 once again, and there were even more that had votes. For example, Make Toys Green Giant got some votes. TFC's Tyrant, MMC's Whirl, their Roadbuster also got a vote. What is it? Wei Jiang's, I don't know what you call it, the Mega Master, I think was called the Megatron version. And just for good measure, let's throw in Fans Toys Thomas and one more. Super 7 Reaction Alpha Tryon. Official, unofficial, there are several out there, and maybe your favorites made the list, maybe they didn't. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. You can check us out on Patreon. You can see what we have to offer to you through Spring, or of course you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us, and that somehow, some way, each and every single day, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.